Unfortunately, it's not the first time I've been asked, Dr. Paul, what do I do if my child was sexually abused? This is not something any parent wants to hear, but there are some clear things you can do that are going to help your child. Hate it! I know, I'm all about love here on this channel. I hate abuse. It does so many things to mess with the minds of those who are abused. And we all know people who as adults are still suffering from some of the consequences of abuse. And so I am so sorry that we have to talk about this here today, but it's all too common. And if you're finding this video, either you're a subscriber to the channel, thank you for being here, or the title caught your attention because this has touched you somewhere in your life. And my heart goes out to you and to your children for any abuse that they have ever suffered. I hate abuse. Have I been clear enough about that? What are we going to do when it happens? Let's remember these 3 tips, and it will get us started on how we can handle this. The first tip is that we need to have an appropriate response. Notice I didn't use the word reaction. This is not a reactionary thing. When a child is abused, the responsible adults in that child's life need to take an appropriate response. Now, appropriate depends on a lot of factors. The first thing that we want to clearly identify is this child safe now? And if they are not in a safe environment, we have to take steps to protect them. As a psychologist, I have a legal and ethical obligation to protect children. And if it comes to my knowledge that a child is being abused, I am required by law to report that to the authorities. You're probably not a psychologist. If you are, you're familiar with the law. If you're not, you may be in a position where you can intervene in a way that is going to keep this child safe. Sometimes we learn about the abuse after the fact. It happened at a time or a place that is no longer current or relevant. And if that's the case, then your child may not be in danger right now. That's important because safety is our first concern. We want to make sure that child is protected. Now, what do we do beyond that? An appropriate response is determined by the specific circumstances of what's going on with that child. It may or may not be appropriate to pursue some kind of legal recourse. That depends on the circumstances. And without getting into all the details about what could happen or what might happen, you might want to consider the next tip. Consult. Consult with someone who has reasons to know what to do. This might be law enforcement personnel, it might be a social worker, it might be a therapist, it might be a psychologist or a counselor. It could be clergy or your ecclesiastical leader. People who have encountered this before and know the steps to take. Most communities have resources for handling child abuse when it occurs. Consult with someone who knows the system and can help to point you in the right direction. If you're the parent, you don't necessarily know where to go or what to do. And each community is a little different. Different states have different laws, different countries handle it in different ways. And so consult with someone who's in the know. Typically, a professional who works frequently with children will be able to assist you with this matter. You don't have to know everything, but conversations will help you to know what you need to know so that you can take appropriate steps. Remember, the first tip I gave you is to have an appropriate response, not a reaction, a response. And the appropriate part will be determined as the details of what has happened become better known and as you consult with professionals or other resources to find out what are the next steps for you. I've seen too many cases where the reaction was more damaging than what had happened originally in the abuse scenario. That may be hard for you to imagine, but I have seen children who are traumatized by the system that is set up to protect their rights and interests. That's why it's so important to have an appropriate response. And trained professionals should be able to assist you with that. So don't be hesitant to consult. I acknowledge that to this point I haven't been very specific. And that's because my favorite answer to most questions about what to do in these situations is, it depends. And it depends on so many things. Let me be clear and reiterate that I hate abuse. Abuse hurts kids and it hurts families. I've also been in a position many times to see that sometimes the adults in these kids' lives want to use abuse or allegations or suspicions of abuse to battle each other. I did child custody evaluations for the court for 13 years. And there are few things other than abuse that I hate as much as using abuse or allegations or suspicions of abuse to put yourself in a better legal position in a custody battle. That's just sick and wrong. Let me come out and say that clearly. That hurts children too. And if you're making allegations of abuse in order to get an advantage in a custody case, then shame on you. And I know you're gonna unsubscribe and put a little thumbs down on the video. That's fine. I have to come out on this because I've seen it hurt children. I think that's a form of child abuse. Now, having said that, I want to give you one more powerful tip about what to do if your child's been abused. Stay calm and parent on. Stay calm. This is the most important time for you to be in control of your own emotions and your own reactions so that you can provide a stable, calm, sane place for this child to feel safe and protected. That is enormously important. Remember, your job as a parent is to love them, no matter what and even if. Unfortunately, sometimes abuse occurs. Even with your best efforts to protect your children, there will be times when it occurs. This happens to good parents, like you. Don't beat yourself up for that. You will think that it's your job to make sure that they're safe. Thank you for doing all that you can to keep your children safe. And I'm sorry, that's not within your control. Sometimes this will happen outside of your control or your best efforts. Stay calm and parent on. Remember, your job is to love them no matter what and even if. You are the most important resource to your child. And you need to show up that way, especially if they've been subject to some kind of abuse. It's even doubly important at this point. Stay calm and parent on. Thank you for being the conscious parent that you are and for engaging here on the channel. We have such a marvelous community of conscious, loving, competent parents. Thank you for being part of that group. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to do that. And if you would like to check out some other higher level resources, please take a moment to set up a call with one of our coaches. They can discuss with you what's available and what would be the best fit for you. drpauljenkins.com/breakthrough call. There's a link in the description.